Morning everyone, welcome to Liam's Library. It's a perfect day to talk about the story that I want to talk about today. In fact, it's the perfect year. Here we stand and sit in the year 2020, and as every meme on Facebook will tell you, 2020 has been a bit of a piece of shit. It's been a bit of an arsehole to all of us, and we're facing a plague, we're facing a pandemic. Now, we all know on Liam's Library, I like to discuss Stephen King. Now, with that kind of an introduction, you'd think I was going to be talking about The Stand, wouldn't you? The Stand, Stephen King's 1,400-page Adonis of a major maniac masterpiece that came out in the late 70s or early 80s, and then Stephen King done the uncut version, I think, in 1990. Argue with me because I'm probably wrong, but like I say always on Liam's Library, I don't Google shit. I go from facts that I've read this guy my whole life. I've studied this guy, so I know things. What I do know is that The Stand isn't the first story he wrote about the end of the world, thanks to the flu. He wrote a story called Night Surf. It appears in Night Shift. Like I said, we're going through Night Shift. And Night Surf is a story that when I was young, like I told you, I picked this book up before I ever picked up any other Stephen King book. So, when I got to Night Surf, I understood it, but it did nothing to really wow me. As I got older, I realized what it was doing and what the story's about. Now, I'll tell you, this is a story about a flu that came out of Southeast Asia called A6. And A6 wipes out pretty much the entire population of America. Now, this short story is only about, I'd say maybe 10 pages long. Small print. So it's decent length. You get to know things. But it's about this flu that comes out of Southeast Asia called A6. And it has wiped out the population of America. Now we meet our characters. We meet Bernie. We meet Susie. We meet Corey. We meet Needles. And there's someone else there. Oh yeah, Kelly and I forget her name, but they're just like side characters. They're just kind of there. The story is told from the point of view of Bernie, right? And to get the time period, Bernie says it's been 7 years since high school. The last time he was down at this particular beach. And he remembers this beach. He remembers taking a girl there on the 4th of July. And how much fun they had, but doing all this stuff, and it was boiling hot weather, and the sand was like bright fire, and the sun was like burning glass. That's just a little bit of a taste at the kind of prose Stephen King uses in this story, Night Surf. But here we are 7 years later, and Bernie is with about 5 other people, and they're the last survivors. They have a transistor radio, they have cartons of beer and cartons of cigarettes because it's free. You can just go smashing into a shop and grabbing what you want because everybody is dead. Now, what interests me in this story is the very first sentence. Now, I started trying to write my second novel last year. So I write short stories all the time, horror, thriller, psychological horror, westerns, try to. And I've written a vampire novel. Now, last year I tried to write my second horror novel, this supernatural thing called Mirror Man. Anyway, I Googled how to make your first sentence pop. And this guy reckons your first sentence is what really matters. You look at the first sentence of 1984 by George Orwell, and it pops, man. You want to know what's going on after that. This story starts off with, after the smell of the burning body had disappeared, we all went down to the beach. So it's like we all went down to the beach, but a body has just been set on fire. So you want to know what's going on. Turns out they come across this guy and he's swollen up from the A6 flu. It bruises, your neck, it swells, and eventually you choke and suffocate on this flu. They find this guy behind the wheel of a Lincoln and he's gibber-jabbering to himself. He's delirious with fever. And he keeps talking about his grandmother. And because he's going to die anyway, without any form of remorse or any form of care about, the human beings, these 6 kids, well, they're in their 20s. They're in their 20s, early 20s. These 6 20-year-olds grab this guy, hang him upside down. No, not upside down. No, they build a pyre around him like a witch in the witch trials, you know. And they set fire to him. He only starts screaming just before his hair catches on fire. They're like, shit, man, we did him a favor. Horrifying, right? But it's written in this really detached first person way, which is kind of a conundrum, isn't it? Because, you know, if you're going to do a third person story, it would be detached because you're not saying, I did this, I did that. But this story is in first person, but it's very detached. It's very impersonal, but it's very artistic. The prose is really artistic. It's fantastic. I have a great time with it. I've read it over and over. I read it again this morning as soon as I opened my eyes for this review. So when people tell you, oh, Stephen King wrote about a plague taking over America and it's just the flu. No, the one where it's just the flu, Stephen King's first attempt at killing the entire population of America with the flu is Night Surf, and it's in this short story collection. And well, I don't know, it's a bit better. It talks about how if the Hong Kong flu happened, that was called A2, and if the A2 affected you, you might be immune, but probably not. In the end, in this story, they're all gonna die. You know, in The Stand, the people who are immune pretty much stay immune. In Night Surf, they're all gonna get it, and they're all gonna die, and they need to just have fun while they're having it. They've got a transistor radio, and they, like I said, they've got a lot of Budweiser, and it takes place over about 2 days. Their friend Needles gets the flu. He's on his way out. He treats his girlfriend like shit. And he remembers back to the 4th of July 7 years ago when he was on this exact same beach, and it was polluted with tourists, and there was shit and filth everywhere. But now the Night Surf has washed everything away. After the flu has killed everybody, now the Night Surf comes and crashes against the headland and washes the beach clean. And when they're dead, it'll be like they never went there before. And there's this cool bit in here where he wants to just like set up some huge big billboard just in case aliens come and saying, just the flu. Just the flu. It was just the flu that killed us. You know, so you can think of it a conspiracy if you want. You can think of it as a real pandemic. As I do. I live in southwestern Australia. We're doing actually really well. My heart goes out to all of you out there who live in, you know, countries that are getting ravaged by this. But it's a scary little look at it. It's a scary little look at how would you actually feel if you were the last person alive. You don't have to deal with the devil and God like in Stephen King's The Stand. You just have to deal with yourself. Are you thinking about it too much? Are you thinking about it not enough? Do you care that the world has died? Will you care? Is it going to go that far? I think Night Surf in Night Shift will really touch on all those things that you might think of. So, do yourself a favor if you're game enough, especially in the year 2020. Pick up Night Shift, read Night Surf, and tell me how you feel. If you want me to review something, leave it in the comments. Stay tuned because I'm starting a new video on my channel. It's going to be called the Sunday Roast. It's going to feature me and my cousin, and we're going to be doing the good and the bad and the ugly on movies and TV series that we like, hate, or just don't know how to feel about it. So I think we're doing our first one on Rick and Morty Season 4 coming this Sunday. We're going to upload it this Sunday. So stay tuned. And the next story I will be doing on Liam's Library is the next story in this collection, and it is called I Am the Doorway, and it is sci-fi horror at its best. I can't believe it hasn't been made into a movie yet, but God willing, please, Mike Flanagan, make it happen. So take care of one another, read some great books, watch some even better fucking movies, and look after one another. Goodbye.